Call me Master Zen cause I'm a flicky bands.
Hey, Geef boy, she is stupid tired man, wasting time, let's get to it.
The IRS! Like that's not how the DMV! Like that's not how the buckwhack! The ATF! Holy shit, why you were right!
That's dumb as hell, man. What's wrong with the DMV, bro? Like, bro, I be seeing a lot of memes about the DMV.
When choosing to watch a series or a movie, one will often think of the genre they wish to consume. One of the most popular genres is thriller, no MJ. The thriller genre can be characterized by suspense and high stakes. Now, there exist different subgenres of thriller, but the one we'll be focusing on in this video is the psychological thriller. The mental aspects of characters are a clear emphasis throughout the runtime, and these series will often feature a genius as one of the main characters. Genius characters are often portrayed as highly intelligent people who are always 3 steps ahead with trillions of backup plans.
Yo, I don't know whether this is true, but they say that like a lot of people who are geniuses, they got problems. You see that this goofball had mental problems, or they were weird niggas. It's like, bruv, why they can't be a person who's smart and they not weird? Well, if they're not weird, then they would have not discovered certain things they discovered. So it kind of makes sense, but it's like, damn, nigga, shit. Sometimes it's dumb being it's okay to be like have like an average IQ, cause bruv, I do not want to be out here touching kids, bro. Weird ass niggas. Or like we having like weird mental problems.
Genius characters are often portrayed as highly intelligent people who are always 3 steps ahead with trillions of backup plans, etc, etc. And I'm here to say, all of that is some cap. A lot of these geniuses got some of the most fake high IQ moves, and I'm tired of people giving them praise for it. And I just so conveniently happened to rewatch Death Note recently. So in today's video, we're gonna be looking at 2 famous fictional geniuses and see how smart they really are. And if it wasn't obvious already, the 2 characters we're looking at today are Light and L. 2 characters who are often regarded as some of, if not, the smartest in all of anime. But to really gauge—
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I probably got below IQ, but bro. And considering like when you watch Death Note, you gotta be like you gotta be able to understand what the hell going on. I'm surprised to myself, and like I can applaud myself like, damn, bro. Even though I'm not the smartest, shit, I was able to enjoy Death Note. Okay?
The intelligence of these characters, we need—
maybe I'm not that stupid.
to really define what intelligence is. And our good old friend Webster says that intelligence is defined as the skilled use of reason. As we all know, Death Note has many scenes to show these characters' intellect. I want to see if these guys, more specifically a certain EM Wave, really have a highly skilled use of reasoning. After all, some people will be calling these 2 the smartest characters in anime, so they should be able to prove it. And let me get ahead of this before it gets out of hand. I'm not here to try and make my own plan or critique the show. I'm just trying to show how overrated some of these big brains are in this series, because as you watch the video, you will see that it is borderline impossible to write a character significantly smarter than yourself. Also, just gonna put this here, you can ignore it for now. Episode 1 begins with us meeting Ryuk the Shinigami and Light Yagami, a high school student. Both of these guys are disinterested and are fed up with the world around them. That's until Ryuk drops a notebook in the human realm for Light Yagami to pick up. This notebook is what the series revolves around, and it's called the Death Note. And let's pause right here. Let's first understand that this thing is broken beyond belief. The Death Note allows the user to murk anyone they desire as long as they know their name and their face. We don't really need to go into the specifics, but the Death Note can control the cause of death, the time of death, and even the events leading up to the death. In short, Light potentially has access to an ability that allows him to murk people without actually having to put in the dirty work of murking someone. However, Light thinks that the notebook sounds ridiculous at first glance, which is the proper response. I don't think anyone would believe that something called the Death Note would actually work on people. So
that's probably the only thing that has happened in anime where like they were actually being real. But oh, a Death Note. Oh, it can do this and do this. Oh, fripp, they already believe it's a Death Note. Like, bruv, I know it's fictional, but fucking hell, man. Add some realism into this shit, bruv. Bro, no, bro, not all of us trying to be out here touching kids, man. You're probably asking yourself, why the emphasis on touching kids? Bruv, if you watch anime, you already know it got some weird shit. This is probably an exaggeration, but bro, the way I be getting pissed off when I'm watching anime, I could literally say 90% of anime they be sprinkling in some weird shit, man. Fuck.
any logical person does, he ditches the notebook and goes about his day. Oh, my bad. He actually takes the notebook and goes to test it out and see if it works. Testing if the notebook really works is a very important concept.
Yeah, if he was black, he would probably be like, who the hell left that book here? It's written Death Note. Yeah, it is what it is. And then the anime will end one season probably maybe 20 minutes. I don't know which time, what the timer mark it was when he saw that notebook. Yeah, the anime would have ended. There would have been no anime at all.
That we need to keep in mind. Later in the episode, Ryuk heads over to the human world to meet Light, and sorry for another pause, but why on earth do you have so many names written? Light believes that he is the only one who can pass justice onto those who commit crime or hurt others, and after cleansing the world of all these criminals, he will become a god of the new world. That in itself is already crazy, but what's even worse is that he's deliberately making a pattern which is essentially a kick me sign to law enforcement. Light's arrogance is one of his defining character traits, and it's the exact reason why his character can be not that smart or just straight up stupid. Characters like Vegeta get called dumb all the time for what he was doing in the Cell Saga. Should Light start getting similar treatment? And you'll start seeing why I say this in episode 2. In this episode, we see a lot of characters being introduced that will become pivotal to the story later. Characters such as Matsuda and Soichiro Yagami, who is Light's father, are introduced in this episode. And yes, Light's father is a cop. A lot of officials in different countries are freaking out about Kira, and Kira is what the public calls Light because they don't know who he is, and they decide to call on the world's best detective, L, to solve the Kira case. Later in the episode, we also get to see one of the more unnecessary plans in the series. Y'all can tell me that I'm dragging it, but I don't care. This whole contraption is just doing too much. This was only put in here to make him look smarter than he actually is. Do you really need to burn the entire notebook along with the rest of your house? If anyone were to see this notebook, they wouldn't even take it seriously, just like everyone else in the series did at first glance. I will say though, a strong counter argument to that is that if someone touches the notebook, they'll start seeing Ryuk, which
Yeah, I was about to say that.
is another major problem. But let's be real, if you are under enough suspicion that the feds are looking through your room, then you're already cooked. And wouldn't a fire starting from your desk be very suspicious? You know what, I don't care anymore. There are other concerning things to talk about, like the dumb moves that Light is about to make. Later in the episode, a man named Lind L. Taylor, who claims to be L, calls out Kira on national television, and Light reacts very, very calmly.
I am justice. I protect the innocent and those who fear.
He said this nigga acts calmly, and then he shows this. Cause I was like, bro, if I was in this nigga's shoes, I would have not even like pay mind to whatever that goofy ass nigga is saying on the TV. Yo, hey man, impeccable video. Hey man, he be putting out impeccable videos, but hey, that got me right there. He's not going to react, but then.
Claims to be L, calls out Kira on national television, and Light reacts very, very calmly.
I am justice. I protect the innocent and those who fear evil. I'm the one who will become the god of a new world that everyone desires.
How is no one
Such a stupid ass song, man.
hearing this? And how do you get a god complex so soon? It's only been an episode and a half and he's already tweaking. Light writes L's name in the book and surprise, surprise, it was a trap. This brings me to one of the points I'll be coming back to over and
It's like, why did he even kill him? Bro, like I said, I'm not the smartest, bro. When he did this, I was like, wait, oh, I gotta remember. They did that so they could like continue the anime. Cause I'm like, bro, why would you like listen to Goofball talking about, oh, if you're the real killer, this and that, and the Goofball was trying to like, I think he was trying to be known at the same time. Like, bro, why would you want to be known for doing? I don't know, bro.
Over again. Light is way too dang arrogant. He gets so cocky that he makes mistakes with the power that should prevent them. L reveals he was able to track down Kira's location to Japan because they broadcasted that message in the Kanto region. He also yaps more and more about the whole thing being an experiment, which I guess you can get that much from his first body. Nevertheless, with this encounter between Light and L, their war officially begins. I think this move by L warrants a point, but this trap working relies heavily on Light messing up. Episode 3 starts off with the investigation team looking at the times of death of victims, with most of them occurring between 8 p.m. and 12 a.m. They also note that the times have more variance on weekdays and holidays.
It suggests that given the times of death, our suspect could very well be a student.
Or it could just be someone.
Yo, hey, I know, like, how do I put this? I don't even, like, I can't even be creative to come up with, like, a better writing or, like, how they could have wrote their story, like, differently here and there. But, nah, they're just going to assume he just goes to school, like, what if, like, the nigga has something else, like, I don't know, bro. Like he's saying right now.
Our suspect could very well be a student.
or it could just be someone free from 8 to 12. Basically, anyone with a 9 to 5 will be free from 8 to 12 while also having weekends and holidays off. L also considers the type of victims to make this theory, but I don't know. If you ask me, I think L peeked at the script a little bit. Also, I'm not too sure how L knows that Light has a god complex, but I guess you can figure that out by the fact that he murked the first person to speak against him. Since Light's dad is a cop, Light has access to police information, so he can easily adjust his patterns to evade suspicion, and he makes his patterns obvious so that L can figure out Kira has ties to the police. So to clarify, a lot of these things L figures out is because Light wants him to figure them out. Light suspects that this will cause tension between the police and L, and that the police will want to find L themselves. That's kind of optimistic, but you got it. The episode ends with a bunch of the task force quitting and someone following Light. This someone is an FBI agent. So 3 episodes in and the FBI is already on your trail. Oh yeah, Light gets offered the Shinigami eyes by Ryuk. These eyes allow him to see the name and lifespan of anyone he sees. However, he'd have to give up half of his remaining lifespan to gain them. Episode 4 begins with Light really pushing the limits of the Death Note and figuring out how specific he can make the cause of death. He learns that the Death Note can manipulate someone up until their death as long as it's not impossible. Light uses this new info to throw off L and the police and to learn the name of the guy following him. Light's plan at its core involved ridding himself of suspicion from the FBI agent, learning his name, then using his new abilities to murk any and all FBI agents in Japan. Light would go on a date with a girl in this class, and like clockwork, the FBI agent will follow him. But then the bus gets hijacked by this guy and he proceeds to hold everyone there hostage. Due to the situation,
I'm not gonna lie, this was smart. I ain't gonna lie, this was smart. Well, he probably gonna say this was not smart. I don't know.
The FBI agent had to reveal himself and his identity to Light to obtain his trust, revealing his name to be Ray Pember. Light then drops a piece of the Death Note that the criminal touches, allowing him to see Ryu. He freaks out and suddenly dies of a car accident. Light was able to control all of this. After seeing this episode, the Death Note for me is inching closer and closer to mind control. Although the plan is very good, it also hinges on Ray Pember dropping all suspicion and giving you his real identity. Kinda risky, but hey, it worked.
And the way like he showed his like his ID was kind of goofy. Like, bro, you just gonna give a random stranger ID? Like, here, look at my ID, nigga. Just do the how they would normally do it. They show you the badge, you see their face, that's it. I bet. Like I was like, bro, we're the police. You see the badge or whatever. But some niggas be like, oh no, why you doing that shit fast? Let me see. Let me make sure to see if that's you. I don't know, some people are persistent, but I'm like, nah, come on, man.
If you thought the bus jacking was impressive, episode 5 is where Light truly shows off how strong the Death Note can be. He catches Ray Pember lacking and holds him hostage on the train. Light forces him to write his boss's name on the top and subsequently write the rest of the investigators in Japan on the paper as well. After doing this, Light also finishes off Ray Pember. In case you don't know what just happened, Light made Ray Pember use a page of the Death Note to murk all of the FBI agents in Japan, and he covered the page as well to make sure Ray didn't actually touch the paper. Now, this was a very clever way of getting rid of the FBI agents in Japan, but I think we can all say that if we were in Light's shoes, we'd be doing similar things. Holding people hostage or throwing off detectives seems like something anyone would do if they were trying to avoid the police. Also, a bit of a sidebar that will be important for the next 2 episodes is that Ray Pember's girlfriend Naomi was suspecting Light or at least someone on the bus to be Kira. That means it's episode 5 and we already got people having reasonable suspicion for you being Kira. News of the FBI deaths spread around the police, thinning out the number of cops on the investigation. The remaining cops are invited by L to his hotel room and L reveals himself for the first time. L lays out all of the guidelines for the task force and continues laying out information gathered from the investigation. The most important thing that L takes away from the FBI agents being murdered is that Kira has to be one of the people who were a suspect. And the theory L has does make sense given Kira's actions lined up with the FBI investigation. The strange deaths in the prison and the FBI's deaths in the short time frame were enough for L to figure out what Kira had been doing. The episode switches back to Light as he thinks about all of his moves up until that point. And for some reason, this guy thinks that the police don't know that Kira can kill through other means, which it's kind of crazy that they don't know that already. I know it's a bit difficult for me to be objective in this case because I already know what's happening, but y'all seen Kira control the actions of someone up until their death. It's safe to say that he could probably do other things with the ability. Light decides to help his good old pops out by giving him a fresh pair of clothes. During his trip, he happens to meet Naomi. Yeah, remember her? She was able to jump to the conclusion that Kira could have been on the bus that day and that he also could murk people without heart attacks. Shoot, she was already suspicious of the bus jacking from the beginning, so none of this is really that shocking. Let's just say that Light is extremely lucky that he ran into her. Moreover, she begins to explain her whole theory to this guy who can very well be Kira. I mean, Light does live in the area, and also Ray wasn't even supposed to show his identity, so I guess he was just being extra risky on this day. Anyways, most of episode 7 is Light trying to murk Naomi because when he tried it the first time, he realized that she used an alias. It's very evident that Naomi needs to go in order for the series to have any more episodes. She knows way too much. We can really see how desperate Light is getting as he starts doing the most basic basic things to try and get her to stay.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. They were playing with us with this episode. Oh, this gonna be the end of life. This gonna be no, not really, but it really was like the character, like that shorty. Then they murked in. I was like, I ain't gonna lie. I was shocked. I was like, what? Nigga, how he got her name?
Then, just when it looks bleak for Light, Naomi says,
It's because you remind me of Elle.
what kind of Brian and Shaq lob is this? This is the freest lie of Light's career. Couldn't have made it any easier for him, to be honest. All he had to do was promise Naomi that she'd get to work on the investigation, and it's done. Light gets Naomi's real name, and well, we can guess what he does from here. And can I just say, the Death Note is so broken. He was able to laugh in this woman's face because her fate was sealed. It's like getting emoted on before you get killed in the game. This also...
Hey, nigga, the same I just laughed right off. That's how I was laughing, bro. That nigga face was so fucking evil, man.
We can guess.
Hold on. I'm covering his face. Fuck. Put that goofy up, boy. Come here, bitch ass nigga. Damn. Look at this evil ass nigga, bro.
What he does from here. And can I just say, the Death Note is so broken. He was able to laugh in this woman's face because her fate was sealed. It's like getting emoted on before you get killed in the game. This also brings me to another one of my points. Light is low-key carry. We all know that Light, without the Death Note, is still a top student, a good liar, and can make good plans. We also know that Light wouldn't be able to make most of these plans if it weren't for how overpowered the notebook is conceptually. Both can be true at the same time. Elle finds out about Naomi's disappearance and decides to narrow down the investigation to the two families that Ray Pember was following. And as we know, one of the families was the Yagami household. Elle's plan is to install cameras in the two houses to monitor the family's activity. While watching the Yagami household, both Elle and Soichiro notice Light is hiding something.
For a 17-year-old kid, I wouldn't say this kind of behavior is particularly abnormal. When I was his age, I did strange things too.
That's not weird to y'all? No? Just me? Okay. Something that should be noted is the fact that Light took other precautions besides the trap he made with the Death Note. Light rigged the door to alert him whether someone was in his room or not, which seems really smart on paper, but if you grew up with siblings, you probably had to do similar stuff to make sure you knew if someone was in your room or not. Realizing he's probably being watched, Light leaves the house so he can figure out a way to learn of all the cameras' whereabouts. Since Ryuk has an Apple problem, Light uses this to force Ryuk to find all the cameras in the house. This was actually really smart because Ryuk doesn't help at all. At this point, Light has to act accordingly and make sure he isn't suspicious on camera. He even goes as far as to taunt Elle on camera. He goes back to his room and we see the infamous scene.
I'll take a potato chip and eat it.
This guy is so unserious. Oh my gosh.
Well, the anime was, hey man, it's amongst the, like, I'm not sure about top 20, but it is amongst the top 50, bruv. Not top 20, yeah, man.
Light wants to throw Elle off his tracks by murking criminals whose names he should not have access to, but to be honest, knowing Elle, he would keep it suspicious regardless. By this point, there are way too many things that line up with someone in those two households being Kira, and as expected, Elle suggests that Kira could have been committing murders inconspicuously while on camera. He still decides to remove the cameras though. Light is clearly Elle's prime suspect, and he's not wrong to think that. A lot of characters who seem too perfect are always the ones you suspect the most. By this point, Elle and Light come to the realization that both of them have to meet each other in person, but I'm sure something like that will probably take a really long time to achieve. Oh, that was fast. During their first encounter, Elle starts pressing Light with a bunch of questions and he reveals,
I'm Elle.
Ignoring the plenty of memes that come from this scene, this move was actually really smart by Elle. This is one of the few galaxy brain moments and almost a checkmate scenario. If Elle is telling the truth and Light murks him, they know that Light is Kira. If he's lying and Light murks him, you get a repeat of episode 2 while also learning that Light is Kira. And if Light is somehow not Kira, the investigators get another person to help in their investigation. There's also the fact that Elle introduced himself as having the same name as a famous celebrity. Therefore, even if Light tries something, he might imagine the face of the celebrity and murk him by accident. However, the reason why this move is almost a checkmate is because Light has literal otherworldly forces on his side. But Light don't got time to think of that, because when he gets home, he starts tweaking.
If I kill him and it turns out he's not really Elle, that would be like announcing to the real Elle that I am Kira.
The next episode begins with these two playing tennis, and honestly, this whole thing showed me that these two are crazy overthinkers. The two go to get coffee afterwards, and I really gotta give it to Light. He is not budging whatsoever, and Elle keeps on trying to bait him into a reaction. A lot of the RDC World videos with Light and Elle are not exaggerated whatsoever, but as their talk begins to heat up and Light gets a request from Elle to join the Kira investigation, the two learn that Light's dad had a heart attack. And part of me wants to say that this was luck, but it makes sense that it happened. This guy was getting worked like an ox. This unfortunate event allows Light to verify that Elle is actually Elle, and Light becomes a part of the investigation. Hold on. Before the video goes any further, if you're enjoying the video so far and you're new, you might as well subscribe. Anyways, back to the video. A lot happens in the next episode. Kira goes on the attack and starts broadcasting a series of tapes to the public talking about how he wants to create a new world. But for some bizarre reason, we don't get any long monologue from Light yapping about how this is a part of his grand plan. Light is also doing some very uncharacteristic things like murdering clearly innocent people. Shoot, he even went as far as to hold people hostage who didn't even do anything. To top it all off, he somehow murks one of the investigators without even knowing their name. I don't even know what type of plan Light could have made to pull that off. So Ichiro puts a stop to the airing of the rest of the tapes by driving through the TV broadcasting building. Doing this fresh out the hospital is crazy too. The remaining tapes basically said that Kira wanted the police and L to reveal their faces to make sure Kira could murk them whenever he needed to do so. And cue the gasp. Another Kira. This Kira is named Misa Amane, and she has the Shinigami.
Man, you know, she's funny as hell, bro. The way this man murked her little ass. Wait, did she actually murk? I think he did murk her. I don't know, bro. I forgot, bro. Dang, man, there's a lot of good things going on, bro. My brain right now is very hard because there's a lot of information going in and out. That's why sometimes I be forgetting I'm doing ration. I'm so locked in right now, bro.
Eyes. Translation, she's even more overpowered than Light. Both Light and more importantly L guess that there is a second Kira as well. It's interesting that L doesn't allow Light to know that there's a second Kira because I feel like anyone could theorize that. There are probably people in the public who guess that there's a second Kira considering the drastic differences between their actions. From here on out, we have a key point for the series. Light now has an ally with the same abilities as him. Light is also the closest he's ever been to L, so theoretically the tides are shifting in Light's favor. Oh yeah, Light also was asked to review the second Kira video and
I'm not gonna lie, you could probably say this is evil or like it's not it, but I'm not gonna lie, I actually wanted to see if Light won. Not Light, yeah, Light, L? Bro, I wondered like, bro, if this goofball had won the final battle, I wanted to see the results of that shit, but damn. I ain't gonna lie, it pissed me off when this nigga lost. I'm like, why? Why?
Comes to the same conclusion as L.
Or maybe it's the thing. Maybe it's this thing of like he's the main character. Maybe that's why.
That there are two Kiras. The task force decides to bait the second Kira with a fabricated message from the original Kira. Misa responds to the message but is mad federal. Talking about Shinigami eyes and Shinigamis in a public message? Bro, she's mad lucky that they decided to pass this off as code for something else, which by this point they gotta start looking into Kira using supernatural means. Near the end of the episode Alright, no. Near the end of the episode, we learned from Rem, the Shinigami following Misa, how a Shinigami dies. Remember, Rem tells Misa not to tell anyone about this. To make it quick, if a Shinigami attempts to extend the lifespan of a human, they will die. Misa sends in a journal with several entries that she wants to be aired, but it's apparent that there are hidden messages like showing notebooks in Aoyama. Both L and Light pick up on this, and L suggests sending people to each of these locations no matter what. Light and Matsuda get sent to Aoyama, and Light decides to go with the big group to make sure other Shinigami are unable to see who Ryuka is following. Too bad it's rendered ineffective because the Shinigami eyes cannot see the lifespan of other Death Note owners. This means Misa just has to see whose lifespan she can't see, and she finds Kira. Prior to listening to the second Kira's message, nothing was really suspicious about any of the locations that the task force visited. However, the second Kira reveals that they found the first Kira, which could potentially correspond to when the task force members visited Aoyama. The police send a message to the second Kira, and Misa takes this opportunity to introduce herself to Light. And finally, the two Kiras meet, with Light being introduced to Rem. Misa is introduced to the family as Light's girlfriend, and the two start yapping it up in Light's room. To skip all the jabber, Misa is willing to be used by Light as long as she provides use to him. She'll basically do anything for him besides let him see other girls. This gives Light a new tool that acts like a double-edged sword, with emphasis on the double edge.
This is the first time in my life that I've been provoked to hit a woman.
Yo, bro. Nah, I can't say top 10 best enemy, but bro. Yo. Cause I think the first time I saw this this scene right here, I think it was a meme. I'm not even sure, like, is this clip the reason why I watched Death Note? I don't know. But yo, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I enjoyed this anime. This is a top tier anime, and I was laughing, boy.
With Misa on his side, Light's plan is simply to get Misa to see the task force and murk them all. Light shows Ryuk to Misa, and completely unprovoked, Misa just tells Light how to kill a Shinigami, even though Rem said not to tell anyone. I wonder if that'll be relevant later in the story. Light tells Misa to send in another tape to throw off the investigation. Light also has to explain to Misa that they can't be together at all, but Misa pushes back at this notion. Light threatens to kill her, but Rem steps in and says that she will murk Light if he ever did anything to get Misa killed. Also, there's a question I had while watching this scene. If the Death Note can prematurely take someone's life and Rem can see people's lifespan, why are these two freaking out about Rem possibly dying as well? If Rem sees that Misa is supposed to die in like 30 years, then preventing an earlier death should be fine in theory, right? It could be a translation error from a previous episode, but I'm pretty sure preventing any type of death is could be a translation error.
Note, from what I recall, this episode is dubbed explicitly mentioned preventing the end of someone's predetermined lifespan. Yeah, the English is too much for me.
From a previous episode, but I'm pretty sure preventing any type of death is fatal for a Shinigami. Anyways, Light is realizing that Misa doesn't really provide him the direct upgrade that he thought it would. Yada yada yada. L sees the—
I ain't gonna lie, bro. The same way he was stressed, yo, I was stressing too, bro. Like, bruh, the fuck is wrong with this bitch? Damn, man. I'm gonna give you this thing, another thing, man. Just right now, lock in, bruv.
Second Kira's video and he sees right through it. This one was pretty free, to be honest. This video is like a complete 180 from the previous ones that the second Kira sent in. After this, Light goes home and stumbles into Misa again. Light takes the opportunity to make a deal with Rem and asks Rem to kill L, and she agrees. Just like that, L is dead, everyone. Wow, turns out having gods of death on your side makes your life easier. Wow, who could have thought? Just need to set up a communication line with Misa and give her to go to the Merc L. This episode is pretty important for the rest of the series as both L and Light make their big moves. Also, by this point, Light is no longer a suspect for L. He is Kira in the eyes of L. L sneaks up on Light, which seemingly backfires for L because Misa arrives out of nowhere. Light just needs to call Misa about L's name, and it's...
Yes?
Okay, this was good. I thought L was just being a freak when he went to touch Misa, but he was actually stealing her phones because he already knew she was the second Kira. And they also took this opportunity to arrest Misa on the suspicion of being the second Kira. The sneak attack from L was a major blow to Light, but it isn't some 5D chess move. If L's theory about Light being Kira was correct, he was under the assumption he met the second Kira. So naturally, he'd expect a move soon considering the second Kira can kill without a name. From this point, Misa is interrogated until she is forced to relinquish ownership of the Death Note, getting rid of all of her memories of the notebook. Rem presses Light and tells him he has to save Misa or else she will kill him. Now Light is forced to lock in and create a plan that he knows will save Misa. Since her memories are now lost, Misa starts acting extremely different in the interrogation, completely throwing off the investigation team. Light also decides to turn himself in to attempt to rid himself of the Kira allegations. This is all a part of Light's super duper grand plan. He buries one of the notebooks and gives the other one to Rem. Light tells Ryuk about the cue he'll give when he wants to relinquish ownership of the Death Note as well. He also does something else here that's really important, but it'll show up later in the series. The murders actually stop when Light is in jail, so it seems like Light is Kira. Light relinquishes ownership of the Death Note and, like Misa, begins to act very differently. Sometime afterwards, Kira starts killing criminals again, which should clear Light's name. Now, something that I haven't mentioned so far is that L has been able to see whether Light is being genuine or not. But now that Light actually has no memories of the Death Note, L's thought process gets mixed up. People start contradicting themselves and L can't anticipate the next move. Good idea by Light, but he's still carried. Not much happens in episode 17. It starts off with a different Death Note user that we can't see, and this Death Note user seems to be a part of Light's plan. Like Light before him, he seems to be writing the names of criminals as well. Light's dad also had to put up an Oscar level performance to free Light and Misa of being Kira, which, let's be real, that can't happen. It also doesn't help that when L questions Misa, she basically soft confirms that she is the second Kira. The task force moves to a new building, and due to his lasting suspicions, both Light and L are chained together. Also, one of these guys is the new temporary Kira. L starts off episode 18 sad about the Kira case. He knows that Light and Misa are Kira, but he can't get any hard evidence to prove what exactly happened. I also think now is a good time to ask, how long would it take y'all to believe that something supernatural is happening? Like, we've seen multiple instances of things that should not be happening and just shrugging it off like it's just a win. We know that Kira can cause sudden heart attacks in people, and we've heard of Shinigamis. When will we accept that the supernatural does exist? Moving on, we see that
Hey,
Kira—
bruv, a lot of us are like Thomas, if you tapped in. We believe things when we see them. Well, you can say we saw some of them, but nah, bruv, just maybe someone let off a fart and that's why her hair like flew up like that. I don't know, bro.
Is somehow linked to the Yotsuba group due to how all the recent deaths helped the company. Someone at this meeting is Kira, and my money's on this guy. Also, Aizawa leaves, but I don't even think I introduced him, so we do not care. The next episode is a Matsuda focus episode. To keep it short and sweet, Matsuda almost gets himself caught and killed to learn that the Yotsuba group has ties to Kira. So he risked his own life to learn that the sky was blue. Nice. The task force bails him out, and throughout the episode, we see Light really contemplating on whether he could be Kira.
Would I punish evildoers and criminals if I could kill by just seeing a namey face?
No, I'm thinking too hard about this. There's no way anyone could murder so many people and not have any memory of it.
The Yotsuba group meeting room gets bugged, and now they're really cooked. Apparently, they slimed one of their mans for speaking out against Kira, and they just
Close that back door, don't get slayed. Wait, I just fucked it up. Lil Durk, close that back door, don't you get snaked by your homie.
continue on with the meeting like nothing happened. If y'all learn anything from me, never trust a businessman. They make plans to murk someone else, and Elle suggests waiting to see if the planned deaths actually happen, which is kinda crazy to do. Light uses the probability of one of them being Kira to his advantage to strike a deal with Namikawa of the Yotsuba group, and that's actually really smart. Good job, Light. But this also means that I lost my life savings, and I'd be foolish not to mention this. Over the last couple episodes, there's been a bit of an underlying pattern of Elle mentioning the potential of his own death. Surprise tool for later. After striking the deal, Light calls out Elle and presses him about why he still believes Light is Kira. He goes into extremely specific detail about what Elle is thinking, which I'd normally say is someone script reading, but this is just happening so we know what's going on. Afterwards, Elle suggests conducting solo investigations, but then twists Light's arm into joining him and Misa on his investigation. Elle's plan is kind of elaborate, but it's pretty easy to follow. I forgot to mention that in one of the earlier episodes, the Yotsuba group hired the second best detective in the world, Araldo Coyle, to find out the identity of Elle. Fun fact, Elle is Araldo Coyle. It's pretty smart to make multiple fake identities because other people will always try to find out who Elle really is. Elle's plan is to use a con man under the Araldo Coyle identity to get the Yotsuba group in contact with Misa Amane and use her as a spokesperson for the company. Oh, by the way, a man named Higuchi is the new Kira, and I find it really interesting that he was able to figure out the way Misa was able to escape the investigation because he has ownership of the Death Note. My point being that not knowing about the Death Note and its abilities make the case so much harder and practically impossible. Light's margin for error is bigger than it may initially seem. The Yotsuba group interview Misa and everything is going to plan, but then Rem comes into contact with Misa and tells Misa about everything that happened before. With this new knowledge, Misa decides to hatch a plan to get Higuchi to confess to being the new Kira. She tricks Higuchi into thinking she is the second Kira, which she is, but isn't at the same time. You get the point.
My bad. I was listening to the beat, bro.
She tricks Higuchi into thinking she is the second Kira, which she is, but isn't at the same time. You get the point. By using Rem to actually murk someone, and just like that, she gets a confession from Higuchi. And may I say, this plan low-key felt like it was on par with a lot of the other skins we see Light and Elle come up with. Almost like any regular person can come up with half the stuff we see. Oh my gosh. Although the confession is great, Elle and Light still want to know how Kira actually performs his murders. Elle tells Light about his theory of Kira's powers being able to be transferred to other people, and it's basically spot on. The theory feels like it's the only thing he can conclude from the information he got. So again, he's following a fairly straightforward train of logic. Elle's plan to find out how Higuchi kills involves using Matsuda and Sakura TV to reveal his identity. Then they'll get Namikawa to tell Higuchi to watch Sakura TV, and Higuchi will go out and try to murk Matsuda. And everything seems to be going to plan because Higuchi is panicking crazy. Higuchi heads out to find Matsuda's file so he can pack him up. It's probably important to mention that the police bugged Higuchi's car, so Light and Elle can hear what he's saying. And since they can't see Rem, they're constantly wondering who he's talking to. So I ask again, how long is it just the wind?
Right now,
Hey, bruv. I don't know. Maybe he got like a little microphone or something in his ear. I don't know, bro.
it would be a Shinigami.
Oh, my bad. Also, in the car right there, Higuchi straight up mentioned a notebook twice and referred to it as evidence. Should the series not be over by now? That's all the evidence you need to start making conclusions. Higuchi tries to murder Matsuda by writing his name in the Death Note and it fails. Light and Elle are confused, and I'm honestly shocked that they didn't start theory crafting. After freaking out about needing his name, he finds his name and writes it in a notebook. Higuchi knows his face, and after some time, he expects Matsuda to die. I know I already know how the Death Note works, but I thought for Elle and Light that there would be some gears turning in their head already. Oh yeah, Matsuda's probably gonna die. Yeah, Higuchi made the deal for the Shinigami eyes, and I don't really expect them to know what's going on here because that is way beyond their knowledge. Higuchi pulls up to Sakura TV and he gets ambushed by the police. I don't want to bore you guys with the high-speed car chases and shootouts. That's boring. We can just fast forward to when Higuchi gets caught. Higuchi begins to reveal information about the Death Note, and everyone in the task force is able to touch the notebook. Elle and Light can now see Rem, and Elle immediately knows that there has to be two notebooks. Light regains his memories and packs up Higuchi so he can become the owner of the Death Note again. Later in the episode, we get a flashback to when Light gave Rem the notebook. We see that he made an actual good play when he switched out which Shinigamis would be attached to which notebook. This would ultimately allow Light to carry out his best plan. The other thing he did was have Ryuk write fake rules in the notebook, which also helped out in the plan. The rule would imply that Light could not be Kira. Again, I'm low-key shocked that Elle didn't immediately question the rules in the back, but he was probably shell-shocked by the entire ordeal. Also, Misa goes to find her notebook in the forest, but oh no, she doesn't have the Shinigami eyes anymore and doesn't remember Elle's name. Let's just take off another half of of her lifespan, Light reunites with Ryuk and Light can complete his super duper grand plan. In the last episode, Light makes Misa start packing up criminals again. This basically forces Rem into a position where she has to kill L in order to lengthen Misa's life. Ever since Light touched the notebook, L could tell that something was up and he knew what his fate would inevitably be. L just didn't want to believe that Light was Kira even though he knew that he was Kira. Finally acting more like himself, L decides to test the 13-day rule, and as a result, Rem kills both Watari and L, with L dying in Light's hands. Oh yeah, I don't think I ever mentioned Watari, but Watari is L's assistant. With no one in Light's way, Death Note ends with Light becoming a so-called god of the new world.
We are a new organization known as the SPK, or Special Provision for...
Bro. My bad for the bad reaction, but it's still, bro, this scene, out of nowhere, there's another smart little nigga, man.
Oh, brother. So as we can see, there weren't that many crazy intelligence feats. The way you hear people talk about these two, you think that there's some 12th level intellect beings in this series. L can only deduce things that the author can figure out. If L was figuring out things that the author couldn't make sense of, then L would just be script reading and ruining the story. A similar line of thinking applies to Light. For the story to be as good and coherent as it is, both the audience and the author himself have to be able to follow it. Light's plans were fairly simple, but effective due to the forces on his side, and that is completely fine. But let's keep it a buck. These two should not be in the smartest anime character discussions at all. Like, putting Light next to someone like Bulma or Senku is basically the polar bear and Arlington meme. And plus, only talking about these two characters' intelligence is a bit of an oversimplification. Both L and Light had other notable character traits, and one can argue that these traits were more helpful than their raw intellect. Light needed to hold a mean poker face in almost every episode to even get this far, and L always had a good question to try and catch someone slipping. So in conclusion, these two are frauds the loose clears. Hope you guys...
I'm a good fan, nigga. Think right again, nigga. Hey, Lelouch, Impeccable Enemy 2. I'm gonna see what is you doing? Yeah, I'm gonna see y'all boys in next video, man. Yeah, very doo-doo reaction. My bad. I was very locked in. It's like yeah, it's amongst them reactions where a nigga forgetting that I'm reacting, and I ain't got nothing to say because it's like I'm processing a lot of things, bro. But I'm going, bro. I'm going, bro.
Call me Master Zen, cause I'm a flick these bands.